Do you ever get tired of spending money on oil changes and not really know what is being done? I'm Stephen Carlin, and I've been working on vehicles as a hobby for the last 20 years. There are many maintenance items to perform on your vehicle. An oil change is arguably one of the most important. I'm here to explain how simple that is to save you money by doing it yourself. According to the 3K mile myth, most manufacturers have steered away from a 3,000 mile oil change and prefer 5 to 10,000 miles before service, as upgrades and oil longevity have broken the old stigma of a 3,000 mile oil change. The first thing you want to do is research the items you need. Obviously, you're going to need small things like an oil drip pan, an oil filter, change of oil, and any other components that you think you'll need to ease into the thing, like maybe a funnel to put in there to put the oil in. Not required, but you might need it. Edmunds.com has a great tool to locate and specify locations for every make and model imaginable. Basically, you can go into the website, you can click the drop down, bring it up, type in your make and model of vehicle, and it'll tell you exactly what you need, how many quarts, and the preferred weight for your specified location. Again, that's another thing you'll need is you'll need to know how many quarts you're going to take. You're going to need to know the oil filter number, and you're going to need to know the manufacturer's recommended oil weight. To find the manufacturer's recommended oil weight, ReadersDigest.com has a great article that specifies all the different breakdowns of location, temperature, locale, because sometimes it's hotter, sometimes it's colder climates. You might need a thicker or a lighter weight oil. When doing this, this also preserves your engine life. Obviously, if you're in a really hot climate, you can go with a thicker weighted oil. And when you're in a cold climate, you don't want the thicker weighted oil because then your engine has a hard time pushing it up to the top and lubricating all the components inside. Next, you're going to want to locate all those key items. You're going to want to open your hood. You're going to want to make sure that you know where the oil fill cap is. You're going to want to make sure where the oil dipstick is. You're going to want to get under your car, and you're going to want to make sure you know where the drip pan is, where the oil drain line is, where the oil filter is located at. That way you know. Some oil filters are located at a canister in the top of the engine. Some are underneath and can be getting to by hand or an oil strap wrench. After you make sure you have all the correct tools, okay, so you're going to want a socket for that oil drain plug. You're going to want an oil strap wrench for your oil filter if needed, especially if you can't get your hand in there. An oil strap wrench is really going to help you get that and twist it loose. Make sure you have all the clearance and you're able to spin that off. And then make sure you have that dipstick, because the dipstick is going to be the one telltale sign to tell you if you put it incorrectly or put enough oil incorrectly or not at the end of the day. Next thing you're going to want to do, you're going to remove the engine. You're going to want to remove the oil from the engine. Remember, by doing this, it's for the overall health of your engine. U.S. News advises oil will break down over time due to high temperatures in the engine, known as thermal breakdown. So you're going to start by placing that drain pan underneath the drain plug that you're going to loosen. Okay, then you're going to loosen that drain plug and let it all drain into that oil drain pan. You're going to want to wait until it's completely done dripping. It'll start to fizzle out. Let it drip all the way down, make sure it's empty, and then go ahead and put that drain plug back in. The next thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to move your drain pan. After you get that drain plug back in, move that drain pan back to wherever your oil filter's at. Use that oil strap wrench if needed, or you might even be able to use your hand, twist that thing loose, drop it down, let it drain down into the oil drip pan until all of it's done. Once it's completely drained, a little trick that we used while working is you take a little bit of oil on your finger. It can be the used oil, whatever. You run it along the little seal on the bottom of a canister oil filter and screw it back on. It just creates a better seal there, more suction. Make sure that there's nothing loose there, no dripping, no seepage of oil out after you tighten it up. And all manufacturers recommend that you don't twist it more than a quarter turn past tight. One, it makes it easier for you later on to do this again. Two, you don't strip anything. And three, you're not stuck with a seized on oil filter you're trying to get off and you can't, and then you got to drill a hole through, whatever the case is, or go back to a professional and pay them to remove it for you. After you replace that filter, you can pull your drain pan out, wipe everything down there, make sure it's clean, and now you're going to be coming back up to the top of your hood to finish off the job. Go ahead and get your funnel if you need it. If not, some are real easy to access, so you can pour your oil right back into the car. If not, go ahead and place that funnel in that oil fill, where the oil fill cap was, and start filling it up with that recommended amount of quarts. Most cars take on average, 5 to 6 quarts. So as long as you're within that range, you'll find out later that's what that dipstick's for, and we'll talk about that too. So slowly pour the motor oil into the funnel until you reach the manufacturer's recommendation for the exact number of quarts. You can go ahead and remove that funnel. Make sure you have a rag there because it will drip. Wipe up everything and go ahead and close that down. After you do that, pull out that dipstick, wipe it off, leave it about halfway out. Go around to your car, start it up. The reason why you're starting your car up is to get the oil not only flowing through and into all those places that you just drained it from, but you're also filling up that oil filter. Okay? If you don't fill up that oil filter, you're going to be looking like you're a half quart high whenever you go to use your dipstick and look at that fill line on your dipstick to see where you're at. So go ahead and pull that dipstick out one more time, wipe off any residual on it, push it all the way back in, bring it out quickly, and look at it. It should be sitting in between the fill lines. It'll have a low and a high side. Make sure it's in between. As long as it's somewhere in between those two lines, you are good. Make sure you shut off your car before you do that though. And after that, you're basically done with your oil change. And it was that simple. You've just been paying somebody else to do it the whole time. Remember, changing your oil can seem like a challenging task, but with the proper preparation and planning, it becomes very simple. Since changing the engine oil is frequently recommended by a vehicle's manufacturer, following these steps can save you a lot of money. And always remember, from the Indiana Public Media website, when automobile oil changes from the amber color to the black color, that's when it's time for a change.